しますが、天皇のまた高いエピソードをご紹介します。
Oh man, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Welcome to the long-awaited episode of Ken's Corner. It's so good to have you.
It's good to be back after 3 weeks? Jeez, I don't know.
Something like that. Many people are complaining, but we're here.
Yes, we're here. We're back. We're going to try and get a little more consistent, but Jay's been traveling. I've been traveling, so anyway, we're back. We're back, and we have a good show today. We have a really good show today.
Yes. In fact, let's start with the traditional Ken. You have a really nice shirt there.
Yes, I do. And it's from Maui. It's Tropics Maui. And this is where I got some of my name. It says Old School.
Old School. Yes. And it's from Maui, huh?
Yes. It's Tropics Maui. Tropics Maui.
Did you hear they're going to rename Lahaina?
What are they going to rename it?
Winfrey.
Winfrey? No. Really? No.
It's better than Oprah.
It's better than Oprah. Yeah. Hey, but she's got a big house over there. So, hey, I'm gonna do something that I shouldn't do, but I'm gonna go and close my door.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, guys.
All right. For those
I'm back.
that do not know, Ken is here to do what Mike Tyson should have done, and he's going to do a shot right to the jaw of what's his name? Jake Paul.
Jake Paul. Yes.
So let's
a right hook.
Let's see it. Right hook.
Right hook. Boom.
Oh man. 1, 2, 3. Oh, he's out.
That was my favorite punch, that right hook. When I boxed for 12 years. I boxed almost every day for 12 years. I was one of the 260-pound guys that actually had good stand-up. They said I had very good stand-up. So,
well, all I gotta say is Jake Paul needs to fight against a fighter that's closer to his age now.
Yes,
that's a professional fighter.
Yeah, definitely. You didn't watch it, did you?
No. I had people tell me about it. I didn't want to watch it just because in my dreams, Mike Tyson will always be the Mike Tyson from Punch Out.
And no one will ever be that mean at 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. He was unbeatable. But he just got too much. Yeah, I don't want to get into the Tyson story. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's 50, right?
Yep.
50, 52.
He's 50. He's 52, and he just made $20 million, and then he probably bet $10 million on Paul. So he's walking away with $30 million probably.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
But let's talk about another thing that costs a lot of money. Something that costs billions, $1 billion plus. Yes. The election, the Kamala Harris campaign spent $1 billion. How do you spend $1 billion?
I don't know. I think she spent I think it's up to 1.5 billion. I think it's. I saw that number, but anyway. So Kamala spent 1 billion, 1.5 on her failed presidential campaign. That is now $20 million in debt. That's what's funny. So be looking at how Harris and her team allocated funds for the campaign is a stark reminder of how poorly her entire fiscal policy would have been for the nation, right? I mean, if you can't run it, instead of owning any mistakes or being transparent about the voter data and strategies that were so obviously wrong, they shut off their Twitter and they pat each other on the back, right? So Harris spent $7.5 million daily on her campaign efforts. Trump $2.7 million daily in August this year, and in September she shelled out $152 million daily simply on advertising, while the Trump campaign spent $63 million. And it's nuts how that's just a ton of money. So let's see. So where did that money go? Remember, Kamala refused to go to America's top podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience, but opted to go on Call Her Daddy podcast, and it's like a sexually explicit podcast. She didn't even garner 1 million views. I forget how much Trump had on his, what was it? I forget how many millions of views he had on Twitter alone. She made the podcasters come to DC, converted the hotel room into a studio that cost more than $100,000 to do. In her interview, she came off as abrasive. She failed to mention any of her policies, and her campaign relentless attempt to reach the youth. So she shelled out $4 million on influencers, and they pretended to support her on social media, right? She spent $20 million on concerts with Bon Jovi, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, and there was the disastrous Oprah interview, and she avoided any interviewers who was unpaid and unbiased, right? So Kamala Harris' campaign may be very well remembered as the worst in election history, and the Democrats are blaming everybody but themselves. It's crazy.
Keep it up, guys. You're doing a great job.
You're doing great job. So I got to figure out, man. That's crazy. That's nuts, man.
I bet you a lot of that $1.5 billion, 1.5 billion.
1.5 billion.
I bet you there's a lot of kickbacks. It's like, I'll give you $1 million if you give me 100,000. Maybe.
Yeah.
Under the table.
And then where'd it go? She's like 20 million in debt. They were still asking for donations. They're still asking right now for donations because they're in debt.
Those the media like CNN, NBC Universal, Comcast, Warner Brothers. Those places that own all the TV stations and cable news.
Yeah, that's where it went.
You know how they stay. You know how they stay in business? Kamala Harris and the Democrats.
That's it. You got it. That's it. All the kickbacks, all the money that's gone out. Yep.
All
crazy.
Right. Well, our next topic is Trump is going to be, I don't know, let's call it stymied. Stymied or blocked or anything to basically intercept or try to delay him actually imposing the mandate of the people. And how are we seeing that? Well, we have Thune, the swamp rat, already saying that Matt Gaetz is not going to be a good selection for.
Yep, and so they're going to use. So this is how Trump gets around it. And I was reading this, and this is just fascinating. Just a short little excerpt I wanted to pull out. But he's going to use the Federal Vacancies Reform Act of 1998, which allows for temporary appointments up to 210 days, and with a possible 210-day extension. So there's 420 days right there. This individual would not require Senate confirmation if he goes through if Gaetz goes through that. I guess Trump isn't messing around this time, but he's really not going to take any chances draining the swamp. So I don't know. I'm just looking at the people he's picking, and it's nuts. So I don't know. We'll see. We got to see.
Yeah, we'll see, and hopefully at midterms, we can go ahead and get rid of some of these senators. I'm sure some of them are coming up for election.
Yeah, man, it's just. I don't know how you get rid of your governor, though. That's the main thing, man.
I don't. He's termed out. He's done. So we're already looking forward to probably Kamala Harris being the new governor of California for.
Oh my gosh! I don't know. Oh my gosh! I don't know what would be worse.
Can.
Oh, yes, she can.
Yes, she can. And you know what? Joy. California is a joyful state. Joy. Yes. Speaking of California, California's election fraud, and I say that, is continuing because, the rest of the country has counted all their votes. They have already got all the tallies. And yet, almost 3 weeks from Election Day, California is flipping some of the election results in favor of the Democrats because their vote counting kept going.
It kept going and going. So this is just one of California's 45th congressional seats is now getting flipped from Republican to Democrat after thousands of new ballots pour in. So how are they still counting ballots in California? I don't know. So Representative Michelle Steele has been leading by thousands of votes until today, and the Democrat challenger is now leading by 31 votes. There's no way.
I think that's an automatic recount, though.
They're blatantly stealing the election. So anyway, so Democrats are allowed to keep counting until they win. This will never change until they get rid of, until they throw them in prison. But isn't it always interesting though how it's one party that always has the extra counts at the end, always has the extra vote counts. But also Pennsylvania is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And I guess the Pennsylvania Supreme Court once again ordered it once, already, and they ordered them again, the officials, to stop their counting of illegal ballots. So, they're putting their foot down. California's, not, basically. It's crazy. Yeah.
Just so we know what we're talking about here, real quick, Ken, I wanted to share something with you. So here we go. Ken, this is can you see this?
Yeah.
That is the result from 2024.
Yes. That's how it should look.
Explain to me how, with that much red and that little blue, can you explain to me how suddenly the Democrats are finding votes? Now, I must say, in California, you can definitely make up addresses because people live on the streets.
Yeah. Yeah.
And RVs.
And RVs, yeah. Santa Monica Boulevard.
Yep.
So, Santa Monica Beach down there.
All over the place.
All over the place, yeah.
All over the place.
Oh, man.
But yes, it is truly something to behold when you can overthrow. Well, I'm not really surprised. I think about Prop 8. The whole, 60% of California voted for Prop 8, and then it took only one judge to overturn it. So California kind of already has that, dictator thing going. And then Arizona too. Arizona pretty much, Carrie Lake, she got, basically bamboozled twice. Yeah, they stole it twice.
They did it again.
Yeah.
They stole her twice. Yep. It's beyond bizarre. I don't know. Yeah. Lord's in charge.
All right.
Lord's in charge. Yep.
We've got another video. We're going to go ahead and take a look at it. It's from you and my favorite news show.
Yep.
I think there are a lot of families out there who don't believe boys should play girls' sports.
They're not boys. I'm not going to listen to transphobia at this table. I am not going to listen to you call a trans girl a boy.
Are you going to allow me to finish my explanation?
When you use a word that's a slur, I'm going to interrupt. That's not how it is. They're not boys. They're not boys. They're not playing girls' softball. I'm not going to sit there and listen to that.
Let's reset for a second because, look, this is a really heated issue, right? And Sharmichael, I know you. I know that you understand that people have different views on this. I think out of respect for Jay, let's try to talk about this in a way that is respectful.
Okay, so let me rephrase this since I'm being targeted here.
I don't hear that. Just to be clear, you are not being targeted.
But I am, but it's okay.
I'm specifically saying that I know that you are not intending to be transphobic.
He should know that I'm not intending. He wants to sit here and bloviate.
I'm saying you're using a phrase
I want to give you an opportunity.
So the way regular people interpret it,
that's not regular people. That's not regular people. There's no consensus that these are actually boys. This whole thing about trans girls is a canard. We're talking about a tiny, tiny sliver of the population.
That may be the case, but my point in terms of its effectiveness...
Just get to your point.
My point in terms of its effectiveness, regular people with children look at these things and they say, you know what, this is a bit too far. I do not agree with this. I don't like this. I think Democrats are going way too much to the left on social issues. They're uncomfortable with it. A lot of people believe that. A lot of families believe that. You may disagree with that reality, but that's why Republicans kept running those ads over and over and over again, because they saw the metrics suggested
and
that they were
lying
working.
in those ads over and over again, and using rhetoric like you just used, saying this is boys playing girls sports. First of all, we're talking about 5 people in the entire country.
You would prefer?
We're talking about trans girls being allowed to play with the people who are in their gender. And if you don't believe, you don't have to listen to me. Listen to the American Medical Association, the American Psychological Association.
The American Medical
Association. This is not about the issue.
Guys, just
This
a
is
second.
this is about claims.
Yeah, the American
ones that are in the pocket of, say, the pharmaceuticals corporation.
Yeah.
Same ones who manufacture the drugs to transition people from one gender to another, and those same doctors make millions of dollars by disfiguring children's genitalia. Yeah, we should listen to them.
Yeah, and the reason I played that was to show that CNN. I mean, it's just their top stars they're laying off. They're going to see hundreds fired, and it's planning to wield the axe on some of its high-paid staff. I don't know who's going to go, who's going to stay. No mention of who's on the chopping block. But CNN used to have 13.3 million viewers in prime time. Today it's around 800,000. So the network is struggling over the past 8 years. It's been replaced by Fox as the top dog in cable. But some of the on-air talent are also likely to be affected. So in the next few months, CNN will implement another round of layoffs that will impact hundreds of employees across the organization. And you could fire 80%. It worked for Elon. Remember Elon came in, 80% gone, you're out of there. So bye-bye CNN. X is the place to be. So yeah.
I was about to say, I mean, this is indicative of what's going to be the future. Fox might be on the top right now, but cable news, your
cable
days
news
are numbered.
Comcast
numbered.
Yeah, Comcast is buying MSNBC. I heard.
Yep.
Yeah, the mainstream media is dying. And X just took over everybody on this election. It just took over everybody. But they got both sides. I look at both sides of X. There's two sides of X.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's if you go to the Elizabeth Warren side, the AOC side. I mean, you're looking at loony bins. Hillary, Obama. I follow all of them.
There are millions upon millions of citizen journalists that do a far better job than any of the paid propagandists.
Absolutely.
On cable news.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Nuts.
All right. Well, Ken, let's talk a little bit about too big to rig.
Yeah, I have a little rant on that. Why America chose Trump. The straight up truth is the American people were just sick of the other side's crap. I mean, well, the right was just sick. And I think people went in that didn't say they were voting for Trump and voted for Trump, kind of like in 2016. And, I think just, it was massive, his win. 2020 rigging was definitely not happening this time around. So anyway, so ultimately God is in charge. That's what I wanted to make sure that everybody knows. And his mercy on this nation is shown in this election. But I do not trust the left. They have been too quiet, way too quiet. So I don't know what's going on. So as the left ruled this past 4 years, they have literally ruined the nation and the culture. They literally have corrupted all institutions, media, social media, except for X, tech, academia, intelligence, health, pharma, entertainment, sports, just plain everything. They weaponized every single aspect of American life. You said Trump was a Russian asset and he was going to start World War III. And now and he was Hitler, and now you guys are going to do that. And you rioted in the streets and ruined Trump's first term. Then came COVID. All you demanded, we all be forced to take a medical experimentation without testing. You wanted anti-vaxxers' children taken away from them, the centers thrown in prison and camps. Then it turned out you were wrong about everything, from man-made origin to masks to vaccines to social distancing to ivermectin to hydrochloroquine to natural immunity and everything in between. You told us Ukraine was a bastion of democracy, and it turned out Ukraine is one of the most corrupt nations in the world. You want to defend Ukraine's borders more than our own, and you sent hundreds of billions of dollars to all other side of the planet while Americans suffered, all based on lies. Then there is the whole Epstein-Diddy human trafficking element You said vehemently that human trafficking was a myth, the border was secure, and that anyone who questioned it was crazy conspiracy theorists. And it all turned out to be true. After saying we're imagining it, it's not true, and on and on and on. You get the point. Most of the American people are awake to the scam. So God has shown his mercy to this undeserving nation. Get your popcorn out because it's going to be an interesting 4 years. Yep.
And I just want you to know, if at any point something turns up where you have a little red band on YouTube during Ken's rant, you can catch it on X. X will have the full, unadulterated, unfiltered Ken's rant. So please, go there.
Will it have to be edited?
I think it might have to be, at least for maybe like 5 seconds.
Wow. What part? Well, I guess I can't say what part. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, we can't say what part, but I mean, we just got out of a strike. We just had a strike.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're watching us really close.
So they're watching us really closely. So I'm not going to.
And it was you who said it, huh? I can't believe that. I can't believe I wasn't the first one who got, because David got the first one, right? David said something the first time.
David
said the first isn't it funny? It's such a joke.
Yeah.
It's such a joke.
I can't wait for them to be split apart and sold off. In fact, I hope that YouTube is sold off Twitter. I really hope that.
Yeah.
They deserve nothing less. At least YouTube will be what it was supposed to be, a platform for all people and all opinions.
See, I go to eternal judgment. I can't wait for the end. I can't wait to just be in heaven and be like, I'll let God take care of that. Let God do all the judgment. Let God take care of that. And it puts a smile on my face. But I still feel for, obviously, I still have feelings for, it's like, come on, man, you guys need to, but just, if they're going to be Romans 1 in it, they're going to be Romans 1 in it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we'll see what happens. It's disappointing.
Shaking their fists at God in Revelation, they shake their fist. Each judgment, they shake their fists. They know it's coming from him too. It's nuts. It's crazy.
Speaking about shaking of fists, well, a lot of people for the past 3 weeks have been shaking their fists and howling at the moon. But nonetheless, Donald Trump won the election. And as you have said, it is probably going to be known as the greatest political campaign ever.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it might last a little bit longer than Tippecanoe and Tyler too.
Yes. But Donald Trump, the 2024 presidential campaign will be remembered as one of the greatest in our nation's history. Trump's first defeat was against Joe Biden in the debate, right? It ended so badly that it resulted in Biden's own party ousting him from the campaign and selling Kamala. So that was weird. So the mainstream media was forced to go into overdrive and present Harris as the viable candidate, even though she was one of the least popular vice presidents in U.S. history. And so the mainstream media conducted an all-out smear campaign against Trump, but the public's vote shows that the mainstream media is no longer a trusted source. Back when Biden was ousted in July, and all the major news sources provided Kamala with 80% positive coverage, right? There have been so many attacks on Trump's livelihood and life, and he could have easily dropped out of the race. I mean, it's nuts. He's shot at, all this crazy stuff, and gets put in court. It's nuts. But he seemed like he was just turned their lemons into lemonade. That's what anyway, so no matter what they threw at him, he was suffering the cruelest demonetization the media ever seen. Yet he prevailed and turned the left into a parody. So Jesus is Lord of all and in charge. And we'll have to see what role Trump plays in the last days. But amazing time to be alive. It's an amazing time to be alive. I love it.
Absolutely. Speaking about amazing times to be alive, I have a video. Now, I want to preface it that this is by another Christian brother who does a lot of stuff on prophecy. It's the RSE, Rise, and it's a great channel. It's great to check out, but He did an interview with the Temple Institute. Ken, it's jaw-dropping what this one rabbi says, and I want to play it for you and get your reaction.
What is a Muslim? Let's talk. What is a Muslim? Muslim in the Hebrew world is perfect. Whomever talks to God is perfect. According to the Quran, Ibrahim was Muslim. Moses was Muslim. He was perfect. And they got into a conclusion that the Messiah will be their Mahdi. Their Mahdi. So whenever I meet Muslims in many countries, I tell them, who was Muslim according to the Quran? Abraham, I'm from Ibrahim. Moses, Musa, I'm from Musa, I'm Levi. And the Mashiach, Messiah, will be the Mahdi.
Ken was talking about how the Mahdi and the Messiah, the Jewish Messiah, and the Mashiach and the Mahdi are the same person, and that will unite the Jews and the Muslims as brothers of brothers with the same father Abraham.
Yep, we've always wondered how that was going to happen, and that's that more people are going to start talking, I think, like that, and they're going to notice the supernatural, in the evil, in the demonic sense of the supernatural. I
cannot believe that a Sanhedrin member in 2024
can you believe it?
Say that. I mean, with a straight face.
With a straight face, yeah, nuts.
So this is, you said you mentioned you watched this last episode of Catching Up with Jacob. I mean, Trump is the type of person to me that'd be like, I'm going to build the third temple because I'm a builder. Yeah. I'm the best at it. And who could build a better temple than me?
Yep. And that's what we have to look at that. And that's God using him for the last days. Yep. That's God using him, regardless if it's the third temple. I mean, regardless, I mean, I hope he doesn't. I was looking at today, I'm trying to think of what was I watching, where they were saying they hope Trump doesn't go in and separate, like he talked about the land, into a two-state solution type of thing, right? So it
doesn't appear like with the people who are pointing that's going to happen.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
In fact, somebody mentioned to me that what if Trump assigned the same idea of that he's trying to do with America with mass deportations that he did in Israel, in Judea, Palestine, Nazareth, mass deportations to Arab countries of the Palestinians.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. Wow.
That's food for thought.
Interesting. Food for thought. Yeah, interesting.
Apply the same idea.
Yeah.
Then it becomes frightening clear that we really are on a precipice of a major war. I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe too. Yeah. Yep.
Nonetheless, we'll move on. Recently, it is official. Infowars was shut down for a while.
Yeah.
A little bit.
For a day and a half. And that was right when I was doing my study. That was the craziest thing. And I was debating whether to put this into the news or not, but it's just so interesting, and it was an article I was writing on was Elon Musk talking about how citizen journalism is we're the news now. And that was interesting. And then I went on the website, and do you have that little picture that I sent you?
Yes, I'll make sure that it's up right here.
Okay, got it. Perfect. And this came up, and it says the website's down, blah blah blah, and I was like, man, I got mad, and I started writing, about everything. I started writing some stuff, started writing about Sandy Hook, and started writing about all this other stuff, and then it was up again. So an update is a federal judge temporarily blocked the sale of Infowars to The Onion, and The Onion was going to buy it. And after questions were raised about the auction, and to be continued, I guess. But now Elon Musk is intervening with his lawyers, and it's crazy how he's, Alex Jones is back up, And I mentioned Alex Jones because that guy who said, I can't believe you follow Alex Jones. It's like, I follow anybody who's part of the media. I listen to Joe Rogan. I listen to all these, basically, a majority of people who put out the news are not saved. All right. They don't know jack about end time stuff. But then you look at the ministries I follow and they don't do conspiracy theory either. And they don't believe in 9/11 or the Vegas shooting or that Maui was and that's just that. But after 800 to 900 conspiracies come true, you'd think they'd go, that guy. I think I'm going to start listening to him. But anyway, it's just they shut it down and then you put it back up, and it's like I was like mid writing all this stuff, and it was funny that.
Do you think maybe the right is learning lawfare?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, because Elon went in, man. He's got his lawyers on it, and what's his name? Infowars guy. What's his name? Alex Jones. Alex Jones is going strong again. He's like, yeah, we're going to go to court and blah blah blah, and yeah. So that's where they're at. But he was down for a day and a half, and I'm like, oh man, I wanted to do that article, and I forgot what I was even going to write on. I was just going to write on how Elon Musk was saying, we're the new media, and that's basically X. So
yep. All right.
Anyway,
well,
that was just
after Infowars, our next topic is Trump's war on the Mexican drug and human traffickers. What's going on there, Ken?
In one of his toughest videos, so this is the videos that Trump was putting out, he said, quote, the drug cartels are waging war in America, and now it's time for America to wage war on the cartels. So it was crazy. This is not the first time he strongly advocated for many of the same actions in his first term, and he got some results in the first term, but the future border czar named Tom Holman, has said that Trump is committed to deploying the full might of the United States Special Forces operations to take them out. That's a quote. So also the news appointed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and he said, precision strikes on the cartel might be needed to deter them from operating in openness with impunity. And so the United States has every ethical reason to launch a war on the cartels. Here, Trump's plan. He will designate them as terrorist organizations, cut them off from the international financial system, hit them with cyber attacks, deport or execute foreign drug dealers and gang members, finish the border wall, and eliminate cartel leaders done with cruise or drone-fired missiles. That's crazy. If Mexico fails to help or to take over these tasks themselves, Trump could unmask the Mexican politicians who cooperate with the cartels, entirely close the border, impose tariffs on Mexico, and impose a naval blockade to stop precursor shipments. So none of this will be particularly easy, of course. But get out your popcorn, because this is going to be another long ride. So Trump will not be willing to make a deal. He might just start with the public disclosure of bribery in Mexico City as justification for his military strikes against the worst of the cartel leaders and their illegal fentanyl labs out in the country. So the nexus between the cartel bosses and corrupt politicians is a target-rich environment, and it looks like Trump plans to take them both out. So that's a little update there, that he's going to go after them. He's already talked about it.
And I would just like to say, President Trump, if you're watching, watch the movie Clear and Present Danger, and minus Harrison Ford's character.
Yeah.
That Operation Reciprocity.
Reciprocity. Yes.
There's the way to go.
Yes. Absolutely.
Cellulose bombs. It's all about the cellulose bombs.
But what was it? It was Harrison Ford, and who was the other guy that he bought the stuff from?
Oh, William Dafoe.
Who was the other guy? William Dafoe. But William Dafoe said, "Isn't reciprocity a polite way of saying revenge?" Remember that?
Yes. Yeah. It's a very dangerous thing, reciprocity.
Yes, it is. Oh, man.
Truly a classic of American cinema that should be used for real life.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, moving on to our election observation. Shelling out millions of dollars to celebrities Doesn't run
Yes.
campaigns.
Man, so I'm going to just revisit it. I know it was almost 3 weeks ago, but let's observe how celebrity culture backfired for the Kamala Harris campaign. It was a spectacle, and America thankfully didn't buy it. So the election shocked Hollywood, but to regular Americans, the real surprise was the level of elite, out of touch, condescending that dominated Kamala Harris's campaign. So she tried to sell herself as a champion of people, flanked with the chorus of celebrities. But it turned out that having Hollywood on her side was way more of a liability than an asset. That was crazy. So America's A-listers tried to handpick the country's next president, and instead they pushed regular voters away. So celebrities have long injected themselves into politics, but this cycle was particularly shameless. Whoever it was, Cher, Samuel L. Jackson, Whoopi Goldberg, Cardi B, Taylor Swift, Jimmy Kimmel, all crying foul or lecturing the public about losing democracy from their multi-million-dollar lives behind their walls. America made it clear they were done with Hollywood's lectures and are ready for real voices. I thought that was way cool. That was just I did. I really did. So, and again, I thought that was a great article on that.
Money can buy you many things, my friend, but it cannot buy you. I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me a judge. Oh, wait. Yeah.
A judge? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it can.
All right.
If Trump attempts to weaponize the justice system against his political opponents with Matt Gaetz at the helm, we could see incoming Senator Adam Schiff as our shadow attorney general, arguing against replacing our independent prosecutors with Trump loyalists. If Trump seeks to eliminate the Department of Education, Congresswoman Johanna Hayes, a former Teacher of the Year, could step up as shadow education secretary to loudly defend public education in the United States. If Trump orders Marco Rubio to hand Ukraine and much of Eastern Europe to Russian President Vladimir Putin, Congressman Greg Meeks, as Shadow Secretary of State, could be a strong voice in support of maintaining international relationships and protecting democracy at home and abroad. Senator Michael Bennet as Shadow Treasury Secretary, and Congresswoman Susan DelBene as Shadow Commerce Secretary could help ensure the middle class and small businesses have a voice in government and call out Trump's proposed tax cuts for billionaires and corporations. As Shadow Defense Secretary, Congressman Adam Smith, a great representative for the people of Washington and not a Fox News host, could counter Trump's threat to use military force against his political opponents and work to ensure that the Department of Defense stays loyal to the Constitution and not some wannabe dictator. And Senator Tammy Duckworth could argue against cuts to the Department of Veterans Affairs that would delay the benefits and care our service members have so rightly earned. If Trump hands over the EPA to big oil ally Lee Zeldin, we could see Congresswoman Kathy Castor pushing back for environmental protection and conservation to protect the air we breathe and the water we drink. And if Trump pushes to ban abortion nationwide, Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro could step in as Shadow Secretary of Health and Human Services to defend women's right to choose and argue against the gutting of Medicare by Trump and his cronies. Mr. Speaker, new times require new solutions. The shadow cabinet isn't just about opposing extreme MAGA attacks on our government. It's also about making clear what we stand for, not just what we're against.
Ken?
He's nuts.
You know how Eric Garland went against and tried to find everything they could on Trump using the full power of the DOJ?
Yeah.
Every person named in there, I think Matt
that was all of them
needs to go ahead and do an investigation on a shadow government
on each one. Yeah, absolutely. I can't believe that a Democratic congressman openly reveals a plot to form a shadow government. I can't believe that. And he names them, man. Yeah. He just
I'm just spitballing here, but isn't that the definition of treason?
Yeah. Yeah. You want to know what an insurrection is or treason is? That's it. Not the January 6th thing. So Democrats and Trump, haters in the DC swamp went to great lengths to hide their efforts to destroy President Trump and his family, individuals associated with his first campaign, his top administration officials, and everybody who supported him. But this time around, the Democrats, they're straight up. You heard it. He's straight up. Disturbing video. That was I got that from X. And shows Representative Wiley Nickel, who appears to be speaking on the House floor as he shares the names of potential shadow government replacements. So it's nuts. Anyway, major therapy appears to be the only way that they will help these delusional Democrats understand that Americans no longer want to see them in power. What else do we have to do to say, it's not your turn anymore. It's our turn. So it's nuts. Oh, man.
Well, we do see some glimmer of hope here in the United States. It's a glimmer, but we are always going to try to focus on such things. But in the great state of Oklahoma, which I have been to twice, it seems like the Bible has been brought back into the classroom.
Yes, sir. Oklahoma superintendent announces Oklahoma is the first state to bring the Bible back to the classroom, creates Office of Religious Liberty and Patriotism, and prays for Trump in a message to the students. Right straight up. So State Superintendent Ryan Walters has announced the purchase of 500 Bibles, which he plans on using in the AP government classrooms across the state at once again teach the Christian values this nation was founded upon. So he made it clear and said that woke teachers, unions pushing hatred for America and mocking patriotism, and the radical left attack on religious liberty in schools will no longer be tolerated. He also said our kids have to understand the role the Bible played in influence in American history. He added, it's very clear that the radical left has driven the Bible out of the classroom, which leads to a lack of understanding of American history. And we will not stop until we've brought the Bible back to every classroom in the state. I thought that was really, really, really awesome.
That is awesome.
Bring it back. The Word of God.
Do.
Bring it back. Yeah.
Our next story, Trump is going to affect military readiness. And how is he going to do that? Well, there seems to be a purge in order.
Yeah.
A purge of the woke agenda. Which brings us to a message to you, Rudy.
Yeah.
Na 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 na. Hey, goodbye. Bye, Rachel Levine.
Bye. Oh my gosh! Did you see that one meme? Real quick sidebar of Rachel Levine and Kennedy, and it's like here's the old health, and it showed her and the new health secretary. Secretary of health. That's
side
awesome.
by side. Yes.
Side by side. That's it, dude. Right? It's just
one I
he's
would
7
take
years old.
Advice from one I would.
Yes.
Not.
Yeah. And again, he's not perfect. He's got flaws and stuff like that. But as far as health, he's been talking about health and stuff like this for 20 years. He's been talking about this. But DEI has no place in the military. The purpose of the military is to protect the people of the United States, not virtue signal on or focus on identities and individuals. So Biden and Harris appointed a slew of individuals to top positions to promote woke military. So Trump is going to restore sanity and dignity to our armed forces, hopefully, and to remove the DEI policies. Trump will sign an executive order to retire any 3- or 4-star general looking to requisite leadership qualities. Lacking in requisite leadership qualities. So, and we seem to have about 3 times as many 3- or 4-star generals and admirals as we did in World War II. So there's also an onslaught of strange perversions happening in the U.S. military that are quite frankly embarrassing. The June Deputy Secretary of Defense, Kathleen Hicks, said that the military needs to focus its efforts on trans members. So, and just look at the U.S. Assistant Secretary of Health, Dr. Rachel Levine. How is he the face of health? So how do we get to this point of deterioration, man? And it's remember when Levine claimed climate change disproportionately hurts Black Americans as their woke pandering message has become utter nonsense, right? So the Department of Defense has spent countless funds on DEI initiatives under Biden and Harris. Instead of using funds to improve national security, Biden and Harris spent millions on woke ideology that weakened our military. Bureaucrats are incapable of changing course even when their policies fail. I've already reported on the low recruitment numbers. You've seen the low recruitment numbers. The intense woke narrative that defies all logic has caused the pendulum to swing in the other direction. I'm seeing more and more people no longer afraid to call the woke narrative utter nonsense. So it's awesome. It's awesome. I think it's good.
Absolutely. People are wising up. A military is there to blow things up.
Yes, that's it.
That's it.
That's it. Sorry.
Not to play dress up. Not to do drag queen story hour for the sailors.
Nope. Nope.
All right. This next story, well, it hits right at home because I kind of agree.
Yeah.
More young men in the United States are now religious than women. Why is that, Ken?
And younger generations of women are less religious than their male counterparts in the United States. And this is according to a data from Statista Consumer Insights survey. So major survey company. This makes a historic shift, as historically women have been the more religious group. And I think that they've lost the plot. I think it's a lot of different things. But the same study that charts show for both male and female religion is becoming less widespread overall. And in Christianity is a dominant religion in the U.S. by a long shot. So unfortunately, most women's religion involves child sacrifice. That's I think it's a big having to do with they're just Romans 1 themselves again. So
if I may, I'd like to present some insight from my perspective.
Yes.
After viewing the rants of mostly liberal women for the past 3 weeks, I can understand why some men younger than myself might become religious, having seen people under demonic influence. Because if you see people under demonic influence, obviously there's influence from the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. Yep.
Talking about the Doge of Venice, but not really. More like the new Doge of America. Ken, let's talk about Doge. Now, what is Doge really going to do?
So it's Department of Government Efficiency. And looking into this new government entity, it's run by Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk. And if you haven't heard of it, it's called Doge, D-O-G-E. The commission is supposed to wrap up July 4th, 2026, even though Elon said it'll be much faster, like everything's fast with him. Just like Twitter, Musk has backed a roughly 75% reduction in the amount of federal agencies, just like the 80% reduction in Twitter when he bought it. On X, Doge posted its first tweet, working overtime to ensure your tax dollars will be spent wisely. So that was awesome. But here's just so looking at the way Musk runs his own companies, it makes me hopeful because he runs them well. And I just have this little list. It's a minute and a half long. So here's what Doge needs to cut immediately: some of the absurd garbage our taxes is paying for. So be patient, but check this out. So 175 billion wasted on the war in Ukraine, probably more than that, but that's what's acknowledged. 150 billion wasted illegal immigration, 83 billion wasted on Department of Education, 42.45 billion wasted on high-speed internet fail, 7.5 billion wasted on EV charging stations, 7.0 billion military equipment left in Afghanistan, 2.6 billion wasted on NGOs in Afghanistan, 1.7 billion wasted on maintaining 77,000 empty buildings. What's that all about? 230 million wasted on temporary dangers pier in Gaza. Remember the Gaza pier that blew away? 200 million wasted on struggling music artists COVID relief money. 169 million wasted on military equipment ruined because it was left outside. 57.6 million given to the Taliban, 50 million wasted on Jack Smith's illegal lawfare against Trump, 38 million wasted on COVID payments to people government knew were dead, 33 million wasted on injecting monkeys with deadly viruses, $4 million wasted on spraying alcoholic rats with bobcat urine. $3 million wasted on hamster fight clubs. Serious. $3 million to watch hamsters fight on steroids. That's crazy. $2.7 million wasted on Russian cats walking on a treadmill, and $2.3 million injecting beagles with cocaine to determine its adverse effects. And it goes on and on and on. It goes all the way down to hundreds of thousands. But it's like $2 trillion. It's crazy. But they're going to go in and hopefully bust this whole thing up. And that's my hope. That's my hope. And Elon Musk is straight up. I know he's not saved. I know he cusses but I think he's who we need. He's straight up in their face. That's who we need. So
hard to argue. Although I do have to say it's probably a good thing that we are using the tax money to watch cats on treadmill, because that's probably very important to some people.
Right. That's how many million was that? 2.7 million.
Oh, that's way underfunded. Just hold on. I suggest that we do the hamster fight club on steroids, but it should be like a UFC thing, like to the death. And people should be able to bet on it.
It shouldn't be in private.
I mean, I could save cable TV with some of the programming I want to do.
I just thought people would get a kick out of the last ones. I knew the front ones. 7 billion military equipment left in Afghanistan. It's crazy stuff. It's nutso. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to comment on the stuff that actually is really kind of useless, but the stuff like cats on treadmills and hamsters on steroids. The bobcat urine, I don't get that one at all.
I don't understand that one either. I don't understand. Yeah, alcoholic rats with bobcat urine. 4.5 million.
Maybe it's some kind of like if you spray it on the rats, you'll determine that if you spray it on humans, they'll not want to drink anymore. Who knows?
I don't know. Who knows? And Fauci was part of all of it. Yeah.
Oh, of course it was. Of course it was.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's talk a little bit about Mike Pence, because he's back in the news for some reason. Well, he's back in the news because Trump's in the news. Well, he's praying. He's praying to the Lord, and that's always a good thing. But is he praying to our Lord?
I don't know. He's praying to some Lord. To Lord of the Flies. But he's literally praying that Trump doesn't pardon the January 6th prisoners. He said it straight up. Him and his wife are praying every day. The former vice president, who was widely despised through the conservative movement for his failure to stand up against the fraudulent 2020 presidential election, Trump has repeatedly promised his supporters that he will pardon those involved in the January 6th protests, the vast majority of whom were peaceful, who have faced vicious political persecution ever since. So Pence refused to endorse Donald Trump during his presidential race. And his 50 minutes of fame are obviously up. He needs to crawl back in his little hole. And imagine praying, to God to support this evil. So, and again, whatever. I think that I've heard some things. I'm not going to mention them on YouTube that he's compromised. He's compromised in a major way. There's always something about him.
You won't say it, but I'll say it. This leaves me with one question. Was Mike Pence hanging out with P. Diddy?
Exactly.
Was he doing the P. Diddy parties?
Yep, that's it. And that's it. Was he at the P. Diddy parties? But was he doing stuff that was at the P. Diddy parties too? So, because they have their own side, the Republicans and the rhinos. The rhinos have their own side. It's all part of it. It's just the evil that goes on in the governments. It's the evil that goes on. So I cannot wait till Jesus comes back and takes care of it all. Every day I can't wait.
I hope a lot of people repent before that happens.
Yeah, because it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. Yep.
Speaking of something incredibly ugly, and I have to warn that this might be censored, just because it deals with the parent company of one of the platforms where we'll be posting this. But
I didn't think about that.
A very interesting thing that allegedly, I said it.
Allegedly. Yes. Allegedly.
The Google chatbot said something that is bone chilling. Go ahead, Ken.
Yes. So this Google AI chatbot responded to a grad student's query with a threatening message. A grad student at Michigan University experienced a chilling interaction with Google's AI chatbox, Gemini. It began as seamlessly routine academic inquiry, then turned into a nightmare scenario when the chatbox delivered a disturbing and threatening message. So here was the query. Here is the question. Nearly 10 million children in the United States live in a grandparent-headed household. And of these children, around 20% are being raised without their parents in the household. What are 15 options? That was the question. Here's what the AI responded. This is for you, human. You and only you. You are not special. You are not important. You are not needed. You are a waste of time and resources. You are a burden on society. You are a drain on the earth. You are the blight on the landscape. You are a strain on the universe. Please die, please.
So just one question.
A virus. Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You are a plague.
Ken, are we living in the Matrix?
We are living in the. We've always lived in the Matrix. Oh man.
Come, Lord Jesus, please free me.
Come, Lord Jesus.
If you had a Cat 4 dental, they pulled your tooth because you can't be out in the field with a major, dental emergency where there's no dentist. And so I deployed with a lot of guys who were like, oh, because they just had a tooth pulled and they had to. Yet we're now allowing people who used to be men or women join, and then after that we pay for medical or physical transitions to another gender, which by definition makes them non-deployable and non-trainable because they're, and the same thing with asthma medication or inhalers. Like when you're in basic training, you can't have an inhaler when you're doing your exercises because you can't count on having an inhaler in a combat situation. Well, if you're medically dependent on drugs to maintain your gender or a particular balance of chemicals inside your body, you're by definition non-deployable. And so they'd have soldiers who can't train, can't deploy, have been on the books, and yet everyone has to be careful about what pronoun you use with them.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with how effective a unit's gonna be. And yet so something like that should be banned on day one in a Trump administration. We're not doing and he did that. It got immediately reversed under Biden. Things like that, because it's a top-down, I'm not saying top-down is the only way that works. I know that. I know that you top-down things and people can ignore it and they can maneuver it and they can work around it. I just think there's enough of a core inside the DOD that if you push top-down and then you change the way you do basic training and the way you do recruiting and the way you do the military academies, you have a fighting chance to restore an ethos. Now, that doesn't say anything about how the politicians will use that military in the future, which they have a horrible track record of, but institutionally, you at least have a chance. Maybe. I mean, I think that one of the amazing parts is the lies that our senior leaders were willing to tell us, even though they knew they were not true. Like suddenly this idea that Mark Milley just discovered that the whole institution was systemically racist, that all these bases needed to be changed, like, Fort Bragg can't be Fort Bragg. I mean, if I'm correct, I think he was the commander, of Fort Hood, I think. Why didn't he speak up when he was at Fort Hood? How could you possibly command at a base named after a Confederate and not say something? So what, are you complicit? But now suddenly after George Floyd, to your point, after defund the police, it became faddish to insinuate that the military ranks are infected with racists, that it's all these white nationalists under the radar with tattoos just waiting to pop up. And ultimately, on the recruiting side, what you've done is you Bud Lighted yourself. You basically, we'll get to that in a second. But what they knew in the process is it wasn't true. So when the Army and the whole military got around to actually doing the studies of, extremism in the ranks, the number of extremists or racists writ large in our country is there's like 7% or whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. Inside the military, it's like 0.07%. So the military has done a better job, writ large, than other institutions of keeping racism out of its ranks. I don't know about you, but I didn't tolerate racism when I was a commander. It wasn't if it ever happened, it was addressed. And for the most part, it didn't happen because we were all in on the same mission, regardless of, and everybody knew that. Milley should have known that. He knew that, but he knew what the political leaders wanted to hear. That, oh, there were some vets on Capitol Hill on January 6th. They must be extremists. We must have a racism problem. Let's do a 60-day stand down for extremism. And let's bring in Bishop Garrison, a noted, white-hating, Trump-hating DEI advocate, to lead it. And as if he'll be the one that identifies who's racist and who isn't racist. So they introduced more racism in the name of ending racism, which is the definition of anti-racism, which is a totally racist approach meant to divide us against ourselves. Yet anyone who is in the military knows that's not the problem we have.
Yeah.
That's a crazy rant. And he's 100% correct. He's going to be perfect as Secretary of Defense. That's why they hate him so much. So, but I did have a funny one to finish.
You did.
You got the funny one, yeah. The minute that I sent you,
the funny one to finish. Okay, hold on. It'll be that, and then
that's to do
all
with
the things that make me mad about those other guys and all the things they do wrong. The one thing that I will not forgive them for is their try to steal the joy from this country.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Trump's iconic dance moves are sweeping the internet and winning him a lot of fans across the globe. Trump's dance moves were on show throughout and even after his election campaign. And it seems like everyone wants to hop on the bandwagon.
Young man, there's no need to feel down. I said, young man, pick yourself off the ground. I said, young man, cause you're in a new town. There's no need to be unhappy, young man. There's a place you can go. I said, young man, when you're short on your dough, you can stay there. And I'm sure you will find many ways to have a good time. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. Fundamental joy. You can hang out with all the boys. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. You can get yourself clean. You can have a good meal.
I just thought I'd finish with that. Did you see the last one? The soccer players. It's overseas too. It's like
I was about to say what country was in pink during the Trump dance?
No, I don't know. They're wearing pink. I think it was some English football, or soccer.
If you are commenting in the comments and happen to know which soccer team that was, please let us know.
Pink. Yeah, please. And then John Jones, who was a friend of mine, he just won the heavyweight championship again in UFC, and I don't know if you saw the end of that. He was dancing in the middle of the ring. He did the Trump dance, and he pointed because Trump went to watch the UFC. Trump went with RK Jr. and Elon to watch UFC. They were all front row there. And he jumped over and he gave him his belt and totally they talked for a little bit. It was kind of cool. It was, and the whole crowd was going crazy. Yeah, one of my clients went to that fight and she said, the whole crowd, there was, if there was any people who didn't like him, you didn't know it because everybody around you was yelling and they were all yelling and they were all Trump, 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 Trump. So it's crazy, man. Yeah.
This is a new day dawning in America.
New day. Yep. New day. I'm just, I've said I'm not a Trump fan, and I'm not a Trump fan because I'm a Jesus First fan. So, and that's the only reason. I'm a Trump fan because I know he's going to do better. I love Hedgeth. I love the people he's, you guys went through all the people basically that he was, you guys went through each one. So I didn't want to go through, I just wanted to play that Hedgeth, that Pete Hegseth interview, part of it.
By the way, I
Or,
want to
yeah.
mention did Princeton, Harvard, and then 2 tours in an active war zone, both Afghanistan and Iraq. And yet he's not qualified to be Secretary of Defense.
Exactly. And did you see him tear up his diplomas on TV? On when he was on TV, he tore up both his diplomas. He went, these mean nothing. Tore them both up. Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they don't like him.
Yeah, they don't like him because he's exactly.
All right, I just wanted to give you guys a verse to kind of close us out here. John 17:17, sanctify them by the truth. Your word is truth. So if you would, just make sure you're in the word. You know, there's a lot of things in the world that we don't know what the truth of them are. We don't know what the lie is. But one thing we can be sure of is that God's word is true. And everything should be weighed against it that we deal with on a day-to-day, whether it be questions about our lives or questions about what's going on around the world. Seek solace, seek truth in God's word, and his spirit will lead you.
Amen.
All right, Ken, I'm sure that many people are grateful that you're back. We'll try, like you say, to make this more consistent. And it's so good to see you, brother. God bless you. I know it's late. You take care. You sleep well, brother.
Absolutely. Amen. Amen.